You're listening to Confessions of a Counselor podcast. Here we will talk all things mental wellness.
Hi everyone, it's Janice here and welcome back to Confessions of a Counselor. So today I thought we would talk about grace. So this is a word that has started to come up in my practice probably, I would say, in the last year and a bit. And it's something that I find myself repeating both personally to myself and within my practice. And I think that it's so important to recognize how hard we can be on ourselves, and when we're faced with a challenge or when we're faced with creating change or doing something new, how hard we tend to be on ourselves. And so the word grace has really started to come up for me as something that's really important in the therapeutic process. So when I talk about grace in terms of a therapeutic process, this is the idea that we're not going to get it perfect the first time. And most likely ever. It's not going to be done perfectly. Things aren't going to go according to plan. And that we don't need to be so hard on ourselves. So oftentimes the way that grace will come up in conversation with my clients is I'll give them something to work on. I'll give them a piece of homework or something to think about, and I'll remind them to have grace with themselves, right? So the big disclaimer that you'll hear me say when I give a piece of homework is I'm not expecting this to be done by next week. This is something that's going to take time and integration, and just remember to have grace with yourself. So when we integrate this idea, this concept of grace into the work that we're doing, then it reminds us to be kind, right? To recognize the negative self-talk that happens when we're trying something new, or to recognize the system that's often in place of this isn't going perfectly, therefore I'll just give up now before any more disappointment happens. Or I'll give up before I even start so that disappointment doesn't happen at all. And so when we can integrate this self-compassion, this piece of grace into the work that we're doing, we can start to feel a little bit more comfortable to take risks, to not get it perfect, to try and fail, and then try again and maybe succeed. And to keep this process of change and imperfection going as we work through things that are really hard. Therapy is not an easy process. It is not something that we just show up and say, okay, well, I had a shitty childhood, and so, now I'm just gonna, feel better about my life, right? Like, that's not what therapy is, right? Like, we really need to go in and do the work and start to create change and try things that are hard and try things that we've tried before that didn't work and see if they work now. And it's an ever-evolving, ever-changing process. And in order to be in the trenches of the work of therapy, I find that one of the essential ingredients to that is to have grace with ourselves, to be kind, to be gentle, to allow ourselves to make mistakes, and for it to be okay. And so I encourage you, if you're on this journey, if you are in the trenches, if you're looking to start this journey, just to remember to have grace for yourself, and that it's okay. It's okay that it's not perfect, and to keep going. You've got this.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Confessions of a Counselor podcast is available anywhere you like to listen to your podcast, both on Apple and Android. New episodes will be released every Friday. If you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to join the conversation. Leave a review or subscribe to the podcast hosted on the Anchor app. All these details can be found at janicelyons.com. Until next time, take care.